Aren't you glad you a New Yorker? Thank you. Aren't you glad
the Knicks, back to the finals. Abdul is a good-looking young black man.
Yeah, listen to that black man.
At least I knew that.
You know, some things are bigger than football, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
And that's why it was important for him to say, I'm not jacking anything about that intro or Trump.
And he got all his hair still. He know what happened to you if you go to your mother's side of the family tree. You gonna have to McDonald's app.
When black people try to be like super OD woke and say like, oh, Democrats never did anything for black people, like that's not even really a real conversation.
Yeah. What just happened? I am Alexa Layton, and I'm back with my illustrious cast. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Peace, Alvin, Aqua, One Digital, writer, journalist, all that good stuff.
Hey, it's your girl, Miss Lissa, your favorite comedian. That's it. Ow.
Bong, bong.
Peace.
And this is episode 11. We got a lot to talk about, so let's jump right into...
Hold on, Miss. Hold on. Before we jump right in, how come we don't never talk about your role on Divorce Sisters?
Oh my God. We talked about this last time.
Did we really?
Yes, I'm on 2 episodes of Divorce Sisters. That's all there is to it.
It's no, but that's all. My friend's doing big things, okay? Take a moment and get your moment, okay?
I appreciate it. Yes, I am. Go check out Divorce Sisters on BT Plus.
Please do that.
Shameless plug.
And Paramount too, right?
And it is on Paramount, yeah. So BT Plus is on Paramount.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes, it's folded in there. Okay, back to the main thing. We are kicking today's episode off with Jay-Z's freestyle at the Roots picnic. He was taking shots at Drake, Tory Lanez, Nicki Minaj, Dame, Jaguar, you name it. He was coming for them. Has this been overdue? And do y'all think a new album's on the way? Give me some takes, some opinions.
Of course, it's long overdue. We tired of hearing mumbling. Finally, somebody's saying some lyrics, and we want to hear it. And he got things, and he got to clear it. So let the air be right there. You know, matter of fact, am I dropping a mixtape? Is it me?
You about to drop your
No,
right now,
I love seeing Jay do that. I mean, we in a time where it's time for us to appreciate our legends. Hip hop is one of the only genres where you get older and they kind of phase you out. So it's nice to see him pop out. And I do feel like it's not an album. You know, he ain't gonna be at the Yankee Stadium soon. He's leading us up to things. Something about to happen. He's not even combing his hair no more. He's combing it out.
I think it was expected. Like if you read the tea leaves, it was gonna happen. You know, it's almost like I wanted to see like a summer jam screen at the Roots picnic, but I'll settle for this freestyle because people been throwing jabs at Jay for years now, so you knew he was gonna respond. And everything when you see his hit list of Nicki Minaj, Drake, Dame Dash, like all these people have been throwing shots at him for years, so of course he's gonna do something.
I thought. I mean, I went. I was there. I thought I was excited to see him perform. I didn't really have an expectation of what he would do, but when I saw his silhouette with the afro, I was like, wait, how did that happen? Right. First, but then I was excited because I feel like this was his opportunity to reinvent himself, and he did it. So I would be excited to hear some new music, hear him, address new topics though. So I was excited to see it. I mean, I thought that the freestyle was phenomenal, but I thought that probably the most underrated lines are the ones about Tony Busby, the lawyer that made those allegations, and I thought that. So I thought I was entertained.
Right.
Yeah. I love the hair because I am the notorious W.I.G. Wiggy Smalls. So I feel like a transition is happening because we all know Jay started out with the Dark Caesar, and he started moving in a room full of vultures. And then by the time they figured it out, he was a billionaire with big old locks. And I feel like he took it out just in time to cut it off again at Yankee Stadium and start it all over again. Bam, you're done.
I think you wanted something because traditionally, right, Jay-Z goes down to the season when a new album is coming. So when he had the Afro, I'm like, well, does he have a new album? So, like you said, maybe
he's preparing
come July.
Did he have
got
a season for 444?
Yeah.
No, that's what. Yeah,
that's when after 444.
That's when he started getting little baby from.
Well, also you can't go from locks.
Yeah.
You can't go from locks to a Caesar because then your head will look crazy.
Yeah.
So the transition would make sense.
Yeah. I know. I feel it. My edges is tingling. Something coming back. Either them or Jay.
I'm just surprised he still has so much hair. Actually, that's very commendable for a man at his age. Most are completely
for it
bald.
not to be a unit. Yeah.
But, okay, Exhibit A. Most are completely bald by the time you reach Jay-Z's age. So it's amazing that he has a full head of hair. I love the afro.
Not to cut you off. Plus, the show was good. I'm saying we all talking about the freestyle, but the show was good.
It was a good show,
and there's still a gang of songs that I'm sure that you would appreciate that he didn't even get to. So,
but there was some lulls.
Oh yeah,
yeah, what? There was some lulls. Just a couple of songs I probably would have skipped, but I mean, it was a very entertaining show. It was a very good set, and for it to be the first time, I know he did like this private show at the Fillmore the night before, but for it to be the first show in years, he was sharp. Because
he be in that mirror all day just rapping, just waiting for his moment. We've been waiting for this.
Yeah. Well, Jay clearly heard Iceman, Drake's Jiggers Up line from Janice, STFU, and basically Hove just, pulled his card like, yo, I'm the OG. Why would I look up to you? You're not my op. And I think he kind of sunned him. What do you think, Keith? I mean,
I think more importantly, he said like you looking at the wrong metric for success, yes. Right? Like Drake. I guess Drake is saying I've got more status on Billboard or whatever the chart is, and Jay is like, I'm not even looking at that. Like we looking at two different metrics for success, and to be fair, Jay is self-owned, right? Like when you look at the byline on his products, it says S. Carter, right? And when you look at the byline on Drake's, up until recently, right? But Drake's previously released projects, they were all, Republic, Cash Money, Young Money, Cash Money, Republic. Which is split three ways before it even gets to him. Mm-hmm. So I think that, what he was saying basically is, it's very clear that what you care about, I don't even care about. Like I care about something that lasts much longer and is much more important.
And Jay-Z's had that battle. Like he's battling for his man. I think, does he have reason? I'm not sure if he has Reasonable Doubt yet.
He has 1/3 of Reasonable Doubt, but he has every other master.
So like, it's like, Drake, look at what I've done. Like that's what you're trying to do.
Right.
Why does Drake? What is Drake's beef with Jay? Do anybody know?
I think it starts with rivalry of MCs, right? If you're an MC coming up, you're gonna want to take out Jay-Z, right? That's just how it works in hip hop.
It's like Paid in Full. The newcomer on the block want to get the old head off the block is my block.
Mm. I don't think that. I think that Drake came in. I think Drake came in with a level of admiration and honor towards Jay, but that there was some competition between like the Cash Money, with Jay trying to sign Lil Wayne. Like there's something there, but I also think that Drake at some point began to resent Jay when Jay didn't show up for him in certain ways that he might have expected, and then also. Jay booked Kendrick for the Super Bowl at the height of at the height of their beef.
Yeah,
true.
And Jay has everything that Drake wants, right? Like he has the ridiculous career where you say his name and it speaks volumes.
Right.
He has the wife and family that Drake is yearning for.
Right.
He has the love of the audience that Drake is still yearning for.
Right.
So, and he got all his hair still. He know what happened to you. You go to your mother's side of the family tree, you gonna have the McDonald's app. So that's why you mad.
Yeah. So I think that there are there are legitimate reasons for them to have conflict. I don't think that it's legitimate reasons for that conflict to be beef. I think that as black men, they should be like, what? We're both rich. We're both really successful. What's the point? But as it plays out in the public and as white corporations love it to be, it is what it is.
Yeah. Plus, like, honestly, you can't compare them, right? Like, Jay-Z came out 96 first album, so he's selling CDs, records, tapes. It's getting bootleg, it's getting dubs, and Drake is really from that digital MP3 era. So you can't really compare him. I'm saying that because I remember looking online, everybody's like, oh, Drake got these 3 albums, he's bigger than Michael Jackson. It's like, chill, stop. Like, what are you talking about?
No.
If you live through Michael Jackson, like, that's just crazy.
There's one moment from the show last night that I thought was really dope. And so he was like, he re-released Dead Presidents, the original and then part 2. And he asked people like, yo, so which one do y'all like? And somebody in the crowd was like, oh, Dead Presidents 3, which I think is that the Nas one?
With the sample?
There was a Dead Presidents 3. I don't remember, but so what he did is he did Dead Presidents, but he did the first verse of the first one, the second verse of the second one, and then gave people the opportunity to kind of like decide. But things like that are the hallmark of an artist that's legendary, that has a fan base that's grown with him. And I think that that's something that Drake wants. The problem is Drake's content doesn't allow his audience to age with him. His content is leaning into certain toxic traits that don't lean into human growth.
Yeah.
Same thing with Jay, right? But I think that Jay's audience is older now where we can see it for what it is. It's entertainment. You're not selling drugs, right? You're not disrespecting women. You're not doing these types of things, right? That you sell as entertainment and as you sell as art. Whereas Drake, I don't know that he's come from that yet. And so it's really hard to compare them.
Yeah. You can't. Like Jay's literally eras. He has different eras. Drake has like 1 or 2 under his belt, while Jay say he has 3 or 4.
Jay was rapping in 88, 89. Like
when he came in the game, he was already old. He was like 26, something like that. He's already old, technically, right?
In rap years.
Right.
Do we want to talk about any of the other lines from?
You want to talk about Nicki Minaj?
Yeah, do you want to talk about any of the other people he was dissing?
I think the Nicki Minaj line was super clever. Your kin can't even. What did he say? Your kin
can't even take the kid to the.
Can't even take to the kid. He was like,
people jump on it like, oh, he's being hypocritical. He's bringing kids on it. He didn't really bring the kids in it, right? He's talking about
the baby father,
Nicki and the baby daddy, right? So
I don't even like when you say the word kid though. Like if I have a kid and you be like, go take care of your kid. Hold my wig.
But honestly, like they could never call. And to me, nobody could call Jay hypocritical. Do you remember the stuff Nicki Minaj be saying on Twitter? Yeah. She takes the lowest of lows, and she just be sounding insane. Like she sound like she just be making shit up. So,
no, the Kanye line. He said he's no maniac, and he talked about how he diminishes in his presence. That was a really good line.
There's always receipts because there's a photo of like Jay, Kanye, and like Diddy might have been in there, but you can see like Jay looking at him like, word. Like, you ain't saying no. The energy, you can tell the energy wasn't the same.
Right.
Because also same thing with Kanye. The things that he's tweeted about Jay-Z online, he would never say that to his face.
Right.
Never in a million years would disrespect that man to his face.
Also, it's never okay to talk about somebody's kids because those are separate human beings.
Yeah, that don't have no control of even being on this earth. They didn't ask to be here. Why are you talking about them?
Tory Lanez lines was slick too.
The Tory line.
Tory Lanez line was funny.
He called him a leprechaun.
Leprechaun.
Him and his father. And then who else was he dissing? He dissed. I think we got everybody. I mean, Dame, of course, he got this Dame.
The teeth.
Dame is low hanging fruit though. Dame is
Dame don't get off Jay's nuts though. Like, damn, take a break.
Isn't that the third of the album that sold? Dame's part. What is it about?
Oh, that master.
Yeah, he was a third.
Yeah, I don't know the business on that.
But that was caught up in the bankruptcy. Like, I'm not specific on it, but that was caught up in the bankruptcy. I don't think Dame might not even own it. Like, that might be up for sale.
But Dame's position, the way that Dame characterizes it is like, I just gave that up because, it has diminishing value. And I'm just like,
come on,
for real?
Like,
bro, you need teeth.
Right, you know you need the money. Your teeth is falling right the fuck out your mouth.
You watch that mouth. Okay? Them jibs is just a flapping. That's why it's called a flipper.
Yeah, he be
You got the
chatting.
teeth of a magic queen. Toddler.
And it's so unfortunate, right? Because think about all the people that for me, these are all people I used to look up to. Like, like, yo, these guys are at the top of their game, and to see them all be so incredibly human, just reminds me that like we're all really just 1 degree of separation from each other. You can't ever put people too high on a pedestal.
Facts.
Be about your business too.
Yeah.
Facts. Well, we're going to go from Jay-Z back to January 6th. Let's talk about this slush fund. Reparations for insurrectionists. The January 6th slush fund refers to a controversial $1.776 billion anti-weaponization fund created by the Trump administration, and it was established to compensate individuals, including the January 6th defendants who claim they were victims of government lawfare or political weaponization. Do you guys think this will actually go through? There are legislators that are suing. There are governors that may implement 100% tax on the earnings of this. Could this open the door for real reparations? I think absolutely not. Black people are never going to be given that, but
Yeah, didn't they give the slave masters reparations before they gave the slaves?
Everybody's got reparations before.
Yeah,
there would be no amount that would be sufficient for Black people as reparations. They would have to give us their lives. They would have to leave their homes right now, get out, and we move in. Give us all the businesses.
Was that the episode in Atlanta when they went through like,
you got to go. They would have to give up their entire lives, trade places right now. That's what I have to do. Where there's no dollar amount.
Yeah.
So
they're not giving it to us. We have to take that shit.
This is also why like when Black people try to be like super OD woke and say like, oh, the Republicans, Democrats never did anything for Black people. Like, that's not even really a real conversation.
Yeah.
When you have the reality that you have a current sitting president who is rewarding people, right, for trying to overthrow the government with the slush fund. But then probably the more insulting part of that is that this settlement that this president approves says that him and his family can no longer be taxed by the IRS, which is insane. So when people try to justify the existence of Trump and what Trump means, it's all grift. It's all somebody trying to be part of that grift in order to make sense of it. And then you think about I'm so glad though that there are federal judges who are looking at this and who are saying, no, this doesn't make sense. So that slush fund was blocked by a federal judge recently.
Plus, it's
we don't know, still got to go to, I'm sure they're going to appeal it to a circuit court judge or a panel of judges, and then it'll go to the Supreme Court, and we'll see what happens with it. But that slush fund is again, another sign that America is a banana republic at this point.
It's all a scam. Cheeto is like king scammer. And if you follow his career, this is what he does all the time. He gums up the works. He weaponizes the justice system. I always say that whatever he's accusing you of, it's just a confession.
Yeah.
This is what he does.
Sorry, my baby father. Projecting.
He was like, all right, I'm going to sue the IRS for $10 billion that did me wrong. The IRS literally works for you. So like, how are you suing the IRS?
Yeah.
And
and I'm going to authorize a settlement.
Right. And I'm like, okay, we can settle out. He's on some ezel. Like, we can settle out of court for $1.8 billion. It's like, what are you talking about?
Right.
And what I hated was that the mainstream media kind of led with it like, oh, Trump is getting all this money. They didn't say like, well, this could get stopped easily. Like all it takes is like a handful of people to be like, stop this madness. But they're not, because they're all following in line because they're part of the grift. They want to line their pockets.
Yeah.
That's sad. Makes me sad.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. It's America though.
Disgusting.
It's like, what are you gonna do? You can't do shit. And
I'm a doctor now. Forget that. It don't even matter.
All right, we gotta just call ourselves
I'm a
doctors.
doctor. I'm just gonna give myself a promotion.
Sorry, Keith.
And I'm gonna get some funding
he
for
gonna beat us
doctors.
up, but
That story
you don't even gotta have a doctor.
That story's been going like 2 weeks
Right.
now with the Dr. Brian. That's what's going on. That story has a lot of life. I think
Dr. Pepper, Dr. J, Dr. Brian, Dr. Lissa knows.
Yeah.
Ain't you a doctor?
Yeah.
So how did you feel about that?
I mean, we talked about it last
We talked
week.
about it last
I feel
Well,
like
if you haven't seen it already, make sure after this show you check out. But he about to get a little more in depth.
no. I mean, like what I said. It's grift. If you haven't put in the work for that title, but also that title isn't the thing that should provide you with the worthiness to work in the field. So I never lead with, hey, I'm Dr. Keith White.
I know, because I didn't even
Whatever.
know till what I mean. But aren't you the one that knights them? You the one that put the
I can hood people.
you the one put them in the hood.
Yeah.
So if they was like, okay, here go the list of folks, and then you saw Dr. Bryant, would you throw the hood on her?
Here's what I would do. Here's what I would do. I would never be in that position, one, because that's not, you don't hood just anybody. I hooded my niece recently for getting her juris doctor.
Congrats.
But I think that I think that even the notion that I need that title to be qualified for whatever it is the problem. And in America, like, we rely on titles more than we rely on qualifications. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so whether she's qualified to do the job of a therapist or a psychoanalyst or whatever it is that she, purports to be, right? That's governed by a board. You don't need a doctorate in order to help people that way. You just have to be qualified by a board. So that's the peer review process. Same thing with the doctorate. But I don't want to get too much into the doctorates because none of that is really important. Like none of those titles is really important. Just like, to me, president. At this point, president is not important because it's all goofy. America's a bunch of goofballs running around, mucking up the world.
Yeah. When I look at my DMs, husband don't matter either.
Damn.
Y'all don't like that title? Everything okay? The title not titling no more?
That's a fact, though, because these titles were supposed to designate okay, husband, okay, you're gonna be dutiful, you're gonna take care of family. President, you're gonna care for the people. Lawyer, you're gonna know the law and represent your clients to the best of your ability. People have shown that they, despite these titles, they don't do any of that.
Yeah.
Titles don't mean shit.
Damn, you blew it up with husband.
Yeah.
Y'all don't be wanting y'all titles. Y'all don't be wanting them titles.
I love my title.
Y'all be wanting iTunes. iTunes right out and you're lying. No, that's a good man right there, Carolina. Wasn't Christina?
He's a good man.
He's a good man. They got the rings on. They don't play on.
I don't have a ring on.
Sir, you could just be quiet. We didn't even have no. We didn't have no.
That was like, wait, where your ring at?
My ring is home. I mean, but my ring is my character.
Why the hell you just turned into Avon? Which one is it? I could cut that part out. That's a good man, Christina.
Okay, so let's jump into some sports real quick. We got Jaxson Dart versus Abdul Carter. Jaxson recently got on the mic and basically endorsed Trump. He was, just doing everything that everybody else does for Trump, like, yay, woo, Trump. And he's on, remind me what team he's on. He's on the Giants.
He's the quarterback for the Giants.
Yes, he's the quarterback for the Giants, right? That's the significance.
New York.
Yes.
New York.
Trump's from New York. But
so he introduced him at a campaign rally for a different politician that Trump was supporting.
Mike Lawler.
But, listen, I'm sorry like this. I've been a New York Giants fan since I can remember. I might have been like 3 years old, right? My first right? And I've been a Giants fan through Phil McConkey, Phil Simms, Jeff Hostetler, like through all the years. And I've been a diehard Giants fan. But this year, I hope that Jaxson Dart tears his ACL.
Yes.
His Achilles
every play, but
and I hope they
Why you care about his
I hope they go 0-16. Because Jaxson Dart is not the only Trumper on that team.
Oh, 1000%.
John Harbaugh
yep.
is the coach is also a Trumper. So you know what? The Giants could kick rocks.
We hope both of y'all tear your ACGs, you heard?
ACGs.
ACGs.
Our RBPs.
Crinkles, baby. Okay.
So it's the Giants. And
Yes,
Abdul,
definitely.
I don't know. I don't remember what
Carter.
position.
Abdul Carter is a linebacker or defensive end?
Okay. Yeah. So he was talking to some reporters, I guess, after, I don't know if it was after a game or what, but they asked after practice, and they asked him about.
You can tell she don't care nothing about sports.
Sure, no. I'd be like, go sports.
It's all good.
I don't know what the hell going on. I'm just trying to give the people context so y'all two can talk about it.
You're doing it right.
It's like a better jersey.
So Abdul spoke about Jaxson Dart and his Trump glazing, and I really do like how he made it known that he doesn't agree with Jaxson. He doesn't support support Trump at all. He disagrees with those views, but he also was very
diplomatic.
And he said, listen, that's my teammate. I sit next to him all the time. We're cool on the field, and what I'm focused on is on the field. Off the field, I don't with that Trump, basically.
Yeah.
What he said.
But he also said that, you know, some things are bigger than football, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
And that's why it was important for him to say, I'm not jacking anything about that intro or Trump. At the same time, that's my teammate. I know him, and you know, and we get along in other ways, but that I'm not jacking with. I could appreciate that.
I loved it. I thought his response was perfect, especially compared to Jaxson Dart's, which was terrible.
Right.
You could tell he wasn't sincere.
That's how most Trump supporters sound. They sound ignorant.
Yeah. And just like, and then the reaction, I was disappointed by a lot of people like trying to put it all on Abdul Carter, like, oh, he should have kept it private. It's like, nah, this dude introed the president at a rally, and they're like, oh, why did Abdul Carter go online and say, hey, what are we doing here? It's like, it was public. He didn't clear with Abdul before he went to meet with the president, right? Who's this divisive character, cretin of a human being. How do you expect him to react?
He's a war criminal.
Period.
Literally. And that's what I hate. It's like there's this constant questioning and expectation for Black people in general to remain civilized and basically not react to the uncivilized behaviors of white people, specifically the ones that support Trump, the racist white people. And it's just like, why do we have to be so couth? Why do we have to have couth when they don't? They've literally abandoned all couth, but we have to uphold ours. Right. It makes no sense, and it's just a testament that's just happening across the board.
And Abdul Carter, he was the third pick in the draft. Jaxson
ahead of Jaxson Dart.
He was like 21. So it's like, you're talking hierarchy. Why is she wanting to support Abdul Carter?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Racism.
Who's uglier? Because I mean, like, let's just go to that.
Who's uglier is going to be Jaxson.
Because then that's why we not paying.
Abdul is a good-looking young Black man.
Yeah, listen to that Black man.
At least I knew that.
That's what I was talking about. But the ladies,
I went and made sure I looked at that. Okay, he's the Black one, he's the white one, or we're going Black.
And he cute.
In more sports news, let's talk about the Knicks. We got two Knicks fans in here, and y'all came in theme today.
Aren't you glad you a New Yorker? Thank you. Aren't you glad
the Knicks back to the finals since 1999 against the same team they lost to. Ooh. What does it mean for the city? What are the predictions?
I'm a Celtics fan, so
so turn this mic on.
We're used to playing into May and occasionally into June. So this This is like work for us, but hey.
No. First of all, he tried to yuck our yum and stunt. But no, you guys were eliminated.
We were.
So
we were. But
okay.
You know,
because he was talking big. I was like, they the one.
No, and she didn't ask you about the Celtics
At all. Like, what? I
just want to preempt it. But go on, please.
I'm like, well, who else
time to shine?
but I want to hear from you what this Knicks current. She's looking at me like, don't put me on spot.
I got this.
Okay.
Memphis knows sports as well. Now, according to 1999, the last time they seen these people, it's like spinning the block on your ex. They about to see you win for real. Thank you. That's what's about to happen. Cause I know when my ex be seeing me, he thought I was going to be washed. Just like y'all thought the Knicks was going to be washed. And then what happened? Upcycled. Back at it, New Jersey, but not in New Jersey. We got New Jerseys. That's what I'm talking about. Fits is better. Thank you. And if nothing else, my man with the big forehead, we gonna shine a light on that, blind the other team, and we gonna win.
I just like the memes. I love.
You know what I'm talking about? Big forehead.
Who, Wemby?
No, the Knicks guy with the big forehead.
This guy with the big forehead.
His hairline started about here. He light skin. He got them braids. They keep talking about.
You talking about Brunson?
Child.
You can't talk about Brunson like that.
Damn.
Listen,
nah, you
if
gotta.
nothing else, shine a light on him. If y'all thought y'all was gonna lose, like Men in Black, you shine a light on his head, it's gonna flash everything. They gonna forget the score. They gonna forget everything. Like Men in Black, reset everything. If anything go down, point the light at his head. Start over.
Mr. Keith, what do you think of your chances of your squad beating the Spurs?
So I was talking with some basketball folks earlier today, and I was trying to spin that I think the Knicks will sweep. Sweep. Here's why. I think that they match up well with San Antonio, in the sense that during the season, I think their chances are better with San Antonio because during the season they had more success with San Antonio. Even when they were slumping a little bit, they still beat San Antonio. They beat them in the cup game as well. So I think that if they can ride the momentum and the confidence of their outside shooting into this series, San Antonio is going to have a real problem. Now, obviously, Wemby is going to be Wemby. He's going to, probably get 30 points, 20 rebounds, 7 blocks, right? Mm-hmm. You got to live with that. But if the Knicks can do what they do well, which is their perimeter defense, their outside shots, I think that they have a chance to run it up.
And don't forget the flash.
I'm also a Knicks fan, so I'm biased, and so I'm ignoring the realities of Cassell, Vassell, coaching job that Johnson is doing. I'm gonna just ignore those things.
I think like I said, I ain't got no dog in this race, but I think Cat is important.
Yeah,
if Cat could facilitate.
And if he can pull Wemby out.
Yeah, exactly. When he was playing that like point forward role.
Yeah.
And I give mad credit to Mike Brown because I think the coaching really he elevated and took the Knicks to that next level. My thing is I hope that y'all don't run after these 2 sweeps, y'all don't run into a buzzsaw and then get punched in the mouth. It's like, yo, what are we gonna do now?
So his mic is still
because it feels a little bit it feels a little bit like you actually wish.
I want good basketball.
Crazy work.
I want good basketball.
We're not gonna lose.
You like all these backhanded.
Right, it's a lot of hate coming from this corner.
I feel a lot of heat from that couch, my guy.
You know what it is? I forgot. You know why though? I know why he's like that. Because last year we eliminated y'all from the playoffs. The Knicks eliminated the Celtics.
Okay.
So
how many chips do
it makes sense.
Do the Celtics have?
It makes sense. I don't know about the past. I can only. I can
talk about 2026.
You have them old ladies.
Yeah. That's all you have to depend. That's all you have to depend on. Right. Moving forward in delusion.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Well, go sports. The only thing I can contribute here is that I never knew what a Knickerbocker was, and it's actually a nickname for an original New Yorker. The more that you know, because I didn't know.
Did you guys ever watch the show? You ever used to watch the show The Knick?
No.
Yeah,
The Knick was a really good show. It was about early New York hospital practice. It was
glorious. That was a keeper. Was it Brock? Was his name Owen?
Clive Owen?
Clive Owen, right?
Yeah.
He was in it, right?
Yeah. The
I
Knicks.
remember the Knicks when it was $5 bags on the blitter. The more you know.
The more you know.
The good old Knicks.
Moving on to who asked for this. California reality star Spencer Pratt is running for the mayor of LA.
Spencer from the Hill.
Spencer from the Hills. He lost his home in the wildfires, and that really galvanized him to run for mayor. Campaigning on outsider reforms, a forensic audit of city departments, and pledges to bring back a golden age to the city. Who does he sound like
Shy,
right
they
now?
want to make something. Okay. You know what, Spencer? I don't like you no more.
He's saying like he will end homelessness in the city in 3 days. Have we learned anything? This sounds like a baby Trump right now.
It's the trumpet.
It's
Trumpet.
giving
The trumpet.
the trumpet.
The trumpet.
For real.
The trumpet.
Because
you
what
know
do you
this guy,
mean?
right? Spencer Pratt. What's his? I know he's a reality star.
Yeah, so I mean, it all started with Laguna Beach, and then there was the spinoff called The Hills. That's where we met Spencer. He was Heidi's boyfriend. LC, who was the star of the show, didn't trust him. Is he still with Heidi?
He absolutely is.
We don't trust Heidi, girl. The more you know. So yeah, he was like the bad boy of the show, but he was allegedly in love with her. No one thought it was going to last, and here we are. Now he wants to be the mayor. And I feel like Alexa was saying, we got to remember, y'all president was used to have a reality TV show as well. He was also on a Little Rascal. So now this Little Rascal want to be in office too. So,
And I would be surprised
when he
if they
says,
film the whole shit.
so when he says end homelessness in 3 days, how? How does
gonna
how does
burn
he?
them. Just put them all in one spot, drop a bomb on them, because what else we want to do? Gonna have all of Skid Row just smelling up the joint.
Yep.
So the problem with that, right, is by saying I'm going to end homelessness, as if homelessness is itself the problem, is ignoring the conditions, the social conditions that create houselessness, that create housing insecurity. So he's already disqualified himself from the role by talking about a symptom as opposed to the problem. So Spencer kick rocks.
Exactly.
Just big
Baby
scammer
Trump.
energy. Big scammer energy.
Trumpet.
I blame Dr. Bryant. No, because ever since you came with no credentials and a title, people want to be.
No, that was Trump. Trump started that. He started off in reality TV and was like, I'm gonna be president.
No, you know who started it? The first white person that came to America and said, I'm an explorer. That's the first title.
Underqualified.
The first title. I'm an explorer.
Right.
No, you are lost.
America is
Christopher
built on that.
Columbus. So we got to blame Christopher Columbus.
This is a straight up like I could do that culture. Like, yo, I could do that.
Yeah,
No, you really
he did it. I could do it. But the thing is, they're doing it.
They're rewarded.
They are doing it.
They're rewarded for ineptness.
Yeah.
Not because we not acting out the right way, but we gonna do that.
But we don't just fail to correctly identify like ourselves. We fail to correctly identify other people. So colonists come here and say they're explorers and do all types of wild but then you go to other places like Somalia and you call the people defending their shores pirates. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is not new. It's not like not on track for what we do here.
The worst part about it is he has the backing of a lot of influential people, though. So Jeannie Buss, the Grange family, Lucian Grange, which is the CEO of Universal Music Group.
What?
And his son, who's the CEO of Atlantic.
What?
Right.
Yeah.
Tech and crypto billionaires. Sean Rad, which is the co-founder of Tinder. Jamie Siminoff, which is the founder of Ring.
What the owner of Tubi doing?
That's Fox. That's Rupert Murdoch. He's been there.
Yeah.
Dang.
So they've been over
I could have
with.
sworn that was gonna be a black-owned business.
Nah, no way. Really?
Goodness.
It comes down to follow the money. Follow the money.
No,
Stands
the
to gain.
Avant. You said Nicole Avant?
Nicole Avant is a supporter as well. So
That's surprising because of who Clarence Avant was and what her political or what her public facing political stances have been. It would seem like she would be anti what this guy Spencer's
Follow the
talking
money.
about.
Isn't this going back to when people said that slavery was a choice? This was his giving. Y'all choosing the wrong side. Y'all good? Everything all right? Goodness.
Wait, we have an editorial comment? Oh, okay.
Follow the money.
God, is that you? You gonna say something? Goodness.
Yeah, the truth is, like, in America, we got oligarchs right now.
Olive Garden?
Oligarchs.
I'm about to say them too.
Oligarchs.
Okay, I'm sorry.
These billionaires that like use their money to put their fingers on the scale or whatever.
Because look at Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel
Argentina.
was one of the architects of this current nonsense and moved to Argentina,
The current
feeling unsafe.
We're Nazis
Yep.
there too.
While they continue to build data centers and destroy the planet, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna just get up out of here."
That's what's really infuriating. Right? It's
Like,
they have the option to leave, while we got to
we gotta
stay
stay
here and deal with it.
and drink dirty water, because that's what it's gonna come down to. We ain't gonna have no more fresh water soon because of Peter Thiel and Sam Altmans of the world. You're gonna be drinking water with piss in it.
No, the water is already disgusting. So I have a filter on the faucet, and we put it on, and 30 minutes later, it was brown, baby. The water is horrible. It's already there.
In New York?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
If you don't have a filter, you're not gonna know.
Could you speak to water ownership and how that affected the Palisades fires and everyone's homes getting burned down, which Spencer Pratt was one of those people who lost his home in that. Because I didn't get to do the full research on it, but there were reports that there was no water in the fire hydrants in that area because there's this family that owns the water system, and they had rerouted the water long before the fires even began. So there was never no water in the fire hydrants anyways. And then when they needed the water, it wasn't there. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know enough about it to speak intelligently, but I can say about owning systems versus land versus owning plots where water is three different things. And so if they own the system that would bring the water up, then sure, that's their right. But I would expect that there'd be some like level of like eminent domain or something where the government or local governments would have the right to kind of like mandate that at some premium price. But I don't know enough about that to speak
We're going to come back to
intelligently.
that. I'm going to do the research on that.
Yeah.
Next episode, we'll bring it back up. Because I just think that there's an ethics issue in general with owning water and the water system.
And people have like
Owning
private
fresh water.
fire
Like,
services and all types.
How are we
of class
privatizing fresh water?
How are we privatizing land? Y'all good?
Well, think about it. I mean, what water can you get for free anywhere?
But-
Even in your own home.
But I think that's an issue as well. But
Yeah.
I also think electricity should be free too. But we're getting a little too deep into the.
In real life, if everybody decided that we wasn't paying, what they gonna do? Lock us all up? Like,
But everybody's not deciding
Right.
that.
I'm trying.
But think
I'm
about
trying to see something.
a future dystopian society where, in order for you to get essential services, you have to have credits that are allotted to you to get those essential services.
Is that what's happening? You know something?
That's what happens right now.
That's what life is.
That's what life is.
That's really what life
Right.
is. You need money. That's the
Now that you got
Right.
a good booster with a foil bag, I'm getting my water. Okay? Meet me on 2/5, Cracky. I got cases and no case. Like, what?
Adulting is straight up like paying for ish that really shouldn't have to pay for.
Right.
There's so many things we should not be paying for.
Right.
So many things. I was literally. Have y'all watched the Nikola Tesla? This is outside the topics of the day. But have y'all watched this documentary?
The Tesla. I watched that. I watched
You
a few. There's a few though.
Yeah, there's a couple of them.
Yeah.
I watched one that was really good though, and it was just basically talking about how electricity was supposed to be free.
And it was a better form of electricity.
Yes, and all we needed was a device in our homes to power our whole homes. But the Rockefellers stopped that because he was funding Nikola Tesla's project to make electricity free
At the
and
same
he
time
said-
as Edison, who was copying Tesla.
Exactly. And he asked Nikola, okay, how am I gonna get paid off this? And he was like, you don't. And then she was like, oh, no more funding.
Right.
And that was the end of that. Now we gotta pay for electricity, y'all.
Put all of his funding into the competing product by Edison,
Yep.
which was, I might be getting them mixed up, AC.
AC versus
Yes.
DC, yeah.
Versus DC. And so by investing in a less efficient, product, right, delayed the advancement and the development of humanity.
Yep.
In a sense.
And to this
To
day,
get paid.
Yeah.
we got
To
to
line their pockets.
pay for electricity.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's the end of what just happened this week. I am Alexa Layton. My illustrious cast here helped me get through all of these topics. Make sure everybody likes, comments, subscribes. We bring in y'all our opinions every week on all things going on in the world. And we're out. See you next time.